Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series, The Nature of Predators. If you are new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 178. Memory Transcription Subject. Chief Hunter Isif, Arcs Rebellion Command. Date Standardized Human Time, April 6, 2137. After voting hundreds of thousands of ships to the Kolshian cause, then having a large portion of those vessels turned against Betman's mandate, Gizno's regime had all but collapsed as soon as humanity won. That selfish despot only wanted to save his own hide at the end of the day. After an offer of exile to an uninhabited moon, he handed over his command to the rebellion without a fight. At this point, following the changes in all the legions mid-battle, we had numbers on our side. I would have liked to see Prophet Liznel's line brought to an immediate end, but I'd settled for avoiding further losses. My return to Riss, as the presumed leader, would be the first time I'd been there in years, since I'd been stationed all the way out in Skalgar. The future of the Arxor wouldn't be as sapient-eating monsters, beholden to basic needs and aspiring to cruelty, assuming Secretary General Zell could persuade the sapient coalition to leave us be. During the upcoming conversation to write the Treaty of Soul, we could start rebuilding our society into its former self. I wished at a time like this that Visith hadn't turned her back on her people. A soldier from the long-gone Morvam Charter would be a leading voice in defending defectiveness. It would be an arduous battle stretching decades to convince my people that empathy was not weakness, especially since sociopathic tendencies had been bred into our bloodlines. There will be the issues of challenges from those who see me as meek. I need to consolidate my allies, including the unsavory chief hunters I turned. The United Nations promised to get Usif and Ilsif to stand down, though, given their lust for power, I can't imagine how. I wished that I could be a part of the Sapient Coalition's activities, but the prey races weren't ready for diplomatic contact with the Arxor. The deep wounds would take generations to heal. There was nothing I could offer that would atone for my complicity. Every atrocity I committed to survive. Forgiveness would never be something I deserved. For all my efforts to bring about a new dawn, humanity had escaped the label of monstrous predators, yet obligate carnivores with our past wouldn't be immune to judgment. Falra was an unmerited blessing, the only friend I ever had, and my only outlet for my supposed emotions. While the Dosa didn't belong in strategy meetings, I hoped to consult with her on sentimental matters in Visith's role. Hey, Siffy, how's your conversation with Zalgo? Ara's message came through in an instant across the reinstated FTL networks. I know you're going to be a great leader. You have such a big heart. I tapped my claws against the keypad. Zao needs to handle Ulsif and Ilsif before we talk. Those two wanted a larger role, despite the obsolescence of their methodology. We cannot afford coups, infighting, and power grabs, yes? With you finding a way to feed them and not killing lots of people, I think you'll be well received. You just need to promise greatness in a way that's not keeping cattle. You did great by getting Gizno to free all sapient captives before he left. The lab-grown meat will be fine, you know. Arxor can try beef jerky now. That's not real meat, you silly rodent. You cannot even tell that human meat is meat by looking at it, because it is so processed and unnatural. That is not a dietary practice befitting a hunter. Maybe you don't realize the Greys do things boringly, Valra fired back. I'm serious, Siffy. Your culture needs to be more fun. Fun is a part of expressing yourself. I question the validity of any advice coming from you. But you still listen to me, because I'm that much fun. What would you do without me? Practice your sulking expression in the mirror? I do not have to listen to your babbling. I can turn off the holopad. You don't want to do that. You must be lonely not having Oleg and Lisa around anymore. I'm not lonely, I am relieved. No more spies and conspiracy theories. I feel bad for that poor adopted human on Skalgar, who will have to deal with Oleg's derangement again. And I'm sure you'll see enough of Lisa to tell me things I don't care about, since she transferred to Liberty's Bastion. No. The coffee shop has been set in motion. Actually, I told her to put a drink on the menu called Siffy. She can use food coloring to make it grey and draw a big heart shape in the cream. I thoroughly despise you. Never contact me again on this app, Falra. Right, sure. Always so grumpy. I'm not grumpy. I am just tired of you. Enjoy this, because it's the last time I'll ever respond to your messages.
Okay then, talk to you tomorrow.
I considered deleting the Swift Bear app after the latest exchange with Valra, but settled for burying the holopad in its drawer with an exasperated tail lash. If that Dosser was the best candidate to steer us down an emotional awakening, perhaps it was better if we kept our single-minded focus on war. I didn't want to be anything like that. Hopefully, the Secretary General's message, arriving any minute, would offer better prospects for the Oxal's future. Unifying my people under a novel purpose was my mission, and that meant that I needed rival chief hunters modified. I intended to ditch the authoritarian name, Dominion, during my rule, and to lay the groundwork for a new method of government, one where the rights spelled out in the Sapien Coalition's founding documents were mirrored for our citizens. The herbivores needed to be convinced that we didn't deserve extinction, and showing them intended reforms might give Zal something to work with. I believed that humanity would fulfill their end of the bargain. That promised to aid the rebellion following the Kolshian's fall. That might not be by sending their fleet after Gisnel's pathetic surrender, but staying their guns of their allies would be its own fight. My claw was hovering over the comm screen, and I swiped to accept when Zal phoned. Greetings, Mr. Secretary General. From your relaxed expression, I gather that your discourse with Ilthus and Ulsif went well. It did. They were given roles as chief generals, a fancy way of saying military advisors, and told that they would need to prove themselves willing to play by human rules before we'd back their leadership. That you have seniority, and showed your strength best at Alpha. We framed it as a promotion, higher than a single sector that had before. The black-haired human replied, a subtle grin on his lips. I assume that you have the officers who defected from the start under your control. They were already willing to follow you. There's an understanding, Kaisel chimed in from where he'd been pretending not to notice my discourse with Valra. We're withdrawing from the sectors like you asked, now that the cattle are released and the raids will stop. A few of the defectors will spearhead new colonies, while they're suddenly returning soldiers. Others will take regional roles of governors. The more self-serving bodies have been relegated to military training. I narrowed my eyes. Yes, I suspect the Sapien Coalition will call for us to unconditionally rid ourselves of military capacity. But I will not agree to that. We must be able to defend ourselves, should some prey take the initiative to try and wipe us out. Also, if I acquiesce to such demands, my leadership will be viewed as weak and doomed. I am confident that I can bargain for you to be left to your own devices, as long as you agree to isolation within Riss's 20-light-year bubble. It'll take some convincing, but after everything you've done for humanity, I promise not to undermine your future. I believe you can be an instrument to build something better. The United Nations will be here to offer guidance, as well as to help you navigate budding diplomatic relations every step of the way. I suppose that you've heard that the Yodel offered us an embassy. Hope I did not cause offense, but I have not accepted the offer. It seems unwise for the herbivores to reside on Riss at this time, especially if I cannot guarantee that diplomats wouldn't become dinner. That's why the Yodel extended that offer prior to the UN, though it is amusing that they beat us to the punch. Isif, we recognize the extraordinary complications that you find yourself with. You need time to sort your affairs out. We'll conduct relations virtually and directly until you have time to train a corps of diplomatic intermediaries who can be sensitive to other races' customs. I suggest you respond to the technocracy's offer with not yet. I will. At least that means you already have one vote against wiping us out. 2, Ambassador Tava will advocate for you. I trust we can pressure Valen into giving her some independence for the treaty votes. I cannot believe that the governor lost his seat of power. She was a formidable ally on the side of humanity. Don't discount Tava, because she still is. Her choice of speaker and testimony about Vendel's suffering was instrumental in getting the votes for gene reversal programs, including the one for omnivores. She's a woman of conviction, regardless of who's on her side. It was my firm belief that Vendel were weak, until I saw the decision she made on my behalf and yours. You were quite lucky. Out of all of those indoctrinated squealers, that first contact was with someone so fortuitous. I'm sure Kaiser would seethe to learn how much I respect Tava." The scrawny Axel lashed his tail out. "I do not always agree with Issa's inclusions of weaklings, but if defectiveness saves us from living as we do now, I will back it. I do not have full trust in you humans, due to your tendency to forsake us. Twice you rebuffed my attempts to defect to Earth, yet now I have a life away from war, acting as Issa's second. I seek peace and safety, for people of my stature not to be tormented." After the pure disdain Kaiser showed when first introduced my social, empathetic companions, it was a relief that he'd come around to backing my cause. He was a solid representation of an average anti-betterment rebel. There would be many Oxal citizens who carried resentment, or who continued practices that humanity would view as uncivilized. Gradual progress was all that I could hope for. Tava served as a cautionary tale of how a populace could reject the sharp changes in a short time frame. The fact that the average denizen would have the option to push back against demands from on high, and an accurate accounting of what happened in their government, would improve on Dominion policy. There's still the need to be enforcement of the rule of law. We need to expedite the building of meat factories and acquisition of non-sapient livestock to guarantee that. Secretary General Zhao clasped his hands together. "Well, I don't expect any serious hiccups at tomorrow's summit. You have the support of your people, judging by Kaiser's attitude. After their showing an offer, I don't expect the betterment archetypes to go against the grain. Congratulations, Yusuf, on your new role and your bright future. It's been a long time coming. You risked your hide to earn it. I look forward to diplomatic relations between our planets in quiet times." "Wait, Mingza. As the final matter, I seek your opinion on my new government's nomenclature. Replaced the harsh tyranny associated with the old one. Dominion should be lost to time," I said. "The Oxal Collective is my idea. I thought it a suitable name. Yes?" "The Oxal Collective is a daring premise to live up to, but it does have a nice ring to it. It evokes that hope that your people can work in altruistic cooperation and care for each other once more. One for all. Everything I do will be for the good of the people. What do you humans say? Lead by example? It's the only way to lead and stand for something. You seem to have discovered your emotional side just fine, without any prehistoric Oxor as a lighthouse. I'm proud to have worked alongside you, Yusuf. You proved me very wrong about your people. You proved me right about yours. Thank you for sticking up for us after we have done our part. And thank you for defeating the conspiratorial tyrants that perpetuated this war. We couldn't have done it without you, Yusuf. Your fortitude and compassion has saved countless lives, both today and in generations to come. Take care of yourself out there, enacting lasting change. That'll be a fight we'll tackle for years to come. Our patience may be tested, but the end result is worth the tiring journey. Risk is free. That alone makes every risk I've taken worth it. If no future Oxor will endure the shame I feel, for every meal I've eaten and crime I've sown, then I'll fight until my dying breath. I hope that you know that you've succeeded in Mayor's wisdom with more grace and intellect than Earth could have hoped for. Farewell, Secretary General Zhao. Good luck, my friend." I terminated the call, allowing him to return to planning for his busy session of post-war decisions. Kaiser turned his binocular eyes to the viewport, with a glint that I finally recognized as homesickness vanishing. The reds of risk clay masses and the greens of forests and plains stretched out on the viewport. I was optimistic as we prepared for the landing that would start my reign. Though Farah would be far away, I wouldn't be alone among my people. Kaiser would require continued mentoring, and I could form a social network within the collective's fledgling bureaucracy. There was no longer an entity standing in the way of progress. The greatest benefit to Betterment's fall was that I wouldn't have to hide my true persona beneath a horrific face any longer. This is home. I can be a place worth saving, worth fighting for. My life can be spent in pursuit of something good, not just with the purpose of staving off extinction. The arrival of a second sapient predator had been the catalyst for the liberation of my entire people. Without humanity, I would have had no empathic sapiens to reach out to who would have seen me as a person. I would have had no frame of reference for what dignified society would look like, apart from Betterment and the Federation. I would have never known that the two galactic powers were colluding to our detriment, and would have never been connected with the Jotun or Vendel, a pair of herbivores who could act with cordiality despite my species. This war couldn't have been won if I hadn't saved Earth from annihilation and trusted them to defy the odds at offer. Every encouraging moment led back to the Terrans and our partnership to actualize a shared vision of the future. It might take decades for the wounds on all sides to heal in any meaningful way, but the cycles of hatred could begin to dissolve today. The humans had given me hope for peace and friendship, and with risks under my control, I never planned to let it go. End of chapter. I would just quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Dragon Soup, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Red Panda 121, Leslie 517, Bushmaster 177, Casper Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Sans the Skeleton, Lightjock, Dragzoon W.R.E, and Lord Asrigal. Thank you very much.